Are you a farmer? Then this is for you. Meet the Farmers Virtual Summit taking place from the 25th to the 27th of August 2020. Available on your smartphone, tablet, or computer. Meet the Farmers is a virtual summit and business matchmaking agriculture event where farmers meet their suppliers and buyers. So this is how it works. During the summit, crucial matters affecting our agricultural sector will be discussed in partnership with GRZ and key stakeholders during the plenary and parallel sessions. During the business matchmaking, the event brings farmers from all over the country to meet their suppliers and buyers. Meanwhile, the suppliers and buyers will set up their profiles online to showcase products and services they supply or buy. The farmers are then linked to their suppliers and buyers based on what they farm. They meet online using video link on a one-to-one and one-to-many basis. Register for free now to secure your place on www.meetthefarmerszm.org.
My name is Songowayo Ziambo. I'm the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Agriculture, which, as you may be aware, has the mandate to ensure food production in the country and also to ensure national food and nutrition security. I want to join my colleagues in welcoming you all to Meet the Farmer Virtual Summit. I want to start by indicating our thrust as government in terms of developing the agricultural sector. Our thrust is to ensure that we develop a diversified, export-oriented, private sector-driven, and an agricultural sector which is resilient to the effects of climate change. In other words, whatever we do, we want to ensure that our farmers diversify. We shouldn't just be talking about maize. There are so many high-value crops such as soybeans, tobacco, and also we can also grow cassava, for example, which is the second largest food crop in the country. So we need to diversify our sector. Secondly, our focus must not be just on the Zambian market. We have a very huge market as a country, and we are lucky that we are land-linked. We have so many neighbors surrounding us, with the biggest, which demands a lot of products from our country, being the Democratic Republic of Congo. And recently, we have done our investigations. There are so many other countries that can import agricultural products from Zambia. So our focus is to ensure that we expand the market of our agricultural production beyond the local market here in Zambia. In fact, the local market in Zambia is very, very small. If I take an example of maize, the consumption, for example, of maize for industrial use and food consumption is just below 2 million tons. But as a country, we have capacity, we have the right number of farmers, we have the land, and we can produce, if everything was made right, even more than 10 million metric tons of maize. As government, we do realize that we cannot achieve what we want to achieve without the private sector. The private sector have the expertise, they know how to source finance, and they know the technical know-how of how to grow crops, how to process them, how to find markets. And whatever we do, we have to do it together with the private sector, because if you look around the world, all the economies that have developed, the focus has been to do it together with the private sector. Of late, we have seen how climate has been fluctuating. There are years when we receive no rains, other years we have floods, other years we have no more rain. In other words, climate change has come to stay, and as government, we are also focusing on ensuring that we equip our farmers to ensure that the agricultural sector is resilient to the effects of climate change. So these are the issues which constitute our thrust as government with regard to developing the agricultural sector. Now, the bad side of the current situation is that the bulk of our agricultural products are sold as raw materials without any meaningful value addition. And even the exports that we normally do, most of them we export raw materials. In other words, we export primary products. Instead of first adding value to them in the country, which even leads to increasing profitability and also creating employment, local employment, which is quite important for our country. And because of this, which government has recognized as a problem, if you read our second National Agricultural Policy and the 7th National Development Plan, which guides the work that we do as government, we have emphasized the promotion of agro-processing. And we have also highlighted some of the strategies which we are going to employ to ensure that agro-processing and value addition is achieved. Now, yes, we can have value addition, but to have value addition, we need to ensure that we produce enough, which will feed the agro-processors, who will then process these, add value for the local market and for the export market. So to increase production, as government, we are also emphasizing a number of issues, particularly productivity. Our small-scale farmers, in particular, are not making a profit because if you look at their production or the yield per unit area, it's very, very low when you compare to the average worldwide. Take an example of maize. In Zambia, last year's production, the average yield per hectare for maize was 2 tons per hectare. But if you look at countries like South Africa, the national average is about 5 tons per hectare. So if you take, for argument's sake, production over 1 million hectares, South Africa automatically will produce 5 million tons of maize. And in Zambia, because of that average yield of 2 tons per hectare, would produce 2 million. So as government, all our efforts currently are directed to ensure that we work with the small-scale farmers, we ensure that they adopt good agricultural practices, we want to ensure that they adopt conservation agriculture, we want to ensure that they diversify. Instead of growing a crop which they know very well is not suitable in their areas, we are trying to expose them to other crops which are drought resilient and can survive in their environment, so that in case of poor rainfall, they can still survive, because we have crops like sorghum, cassava, millet, which they can grow and survive, whether there's a drought or not, instead of just thinking maize, maize, maize all the time. And then, as government, we are also investing in our research and development. As a ministry, we have what we call the Zambia Agricultural Research Institute. We also have the Seed Certification Institute, which has focused on producing appropriate varieties, which are high yielding, which are appropriate for various agroecological zones in Zambia, so that we can give this to our farmers and ensure that our national production is guaranteed. Now, we do understand, even if we are talking about value addition and enhancing our agro-processing, we do understand that there are certain challenges which are currently being faced. The first one, of course, is limited access to finance. The other one is to do with the poor standards and quality, and also lack of access to specialized equipment and machinery. Now, as a government, we are busy trying to address these bottlenecks because if we can't address the issue of access to finance, standards and quality, and ensuring that the players have access to specialized equipment and machinery, we will not achieve what we are talking about. For example, one of the notable achievements which we have scored is the setting up of a high-tech cassava milling plant, which will be a game changer and a catalyst to cassava production, because it is going to process cassava into a number of products such as cassava meal, starch, ethanol. It's designed to do all those kind of things. And in fact, such an investment, we want to run it together with the private sector under PPP. I also want to recognize other private investors who have invested in agro-processing of cassava, tobacco, and other commodities. In terms of the way forward, I want to emphasize that for us to move forward, we should stop dwelling on just theories and think we are going to create a change. What we require is for all the stakeholders, including ourselves as government, farmers, for example, the Zambia National Farmers Union, we have millers, the Millers Association of Zambia, we have traders, the Grain Traders Association of Zambia, we have all crushers, and so many other agro-processors and players in the agricultural industry. We need to come together, and I'm happy to announce that government has already started this process where we are working with all the stakeholders in the agricultural sector, particularly the private sector, the players themselves, to develop joint action plans for the various commodity industries. And our focus is mainly on oilseeds, which include soybeans, cotton, sunflower, maize. We are also focusing on rice, cassava, cashew nut, fruits and vegetables. Because what we believe is if we put our heads together, we are going to identify the challenges and also come up with practical solutions, which will be cascaded into joint action plans. The private sector will have specific roles to play, as government will have specific roles to play. And at the end of the day, we believe that in so doing, we are going to develop the value chains and ensure that as a country, we start adding value to our primary production. Because that way we shall increase production for the local market and for exports. And we shall, in so doing, contribute more to the GDP and also job creation, which is much needed in the country. And in doing all these things, public-private partnerships are one of the options, and we are open to discuss that as government in terms of moving forward. So I want to thank you and to conclude my remarks by reminding you what I said earlier, that our thrust as government and whatever we do is guided by ensuring that we diversify our sector, we make it export-oriented, and we must ensure that it is private sector-driven and resilient to the effects of climate change. I thank you.
Meet the Farmers 2020, we want to focus on innovation, agriculture, and the future. We are now in plenary session 1. Our opening ceremony and our keynote address we'll be having for today. The first speaker, as part of the opening ceremony, is Honorable Michael Katambo. Honorable Michael Katambo is the Minister for Agriculture, Zambia, and he is also the Honorable Member of Parliament in the National Assembly representing Masaiti constituency. He is obviously a farmer and one who has been very strong in the agriculture sector for a long time. Please put your hands together and welcome Honorable Katambo.
You are all welcome to the official launch of the Meet the Farmers Virtual Summit 2020. I am sure you will all agree with me that the summit is taking place at the right time, and that the theme of innovation, agriculture, future has been appropriately coined and is a call to action to all of us in the agriculture industry. These are exceptionally difficult times for everyone in the country, and as such, we all need to embrace innovations that will cushion the impacts we are facing due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I am thrilled to learn that this event has received a positive response and has gathered a lot of attention within and outside Zambia. I am reliably informed that we are joined by participants from South Africa, Tanzania, Zimbabwe, and Uganda. To all of you, let me take this opportunity to extend a special welcome to you all. And thank you for being part of this landmark occasion. I would like to take this opportunity to express my sincere gratitude to the organizers for developing such an innovative concept and for making sure everything is in place for this summit to go ahead. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, government has had to make the very difficult decision to cancel major gatherings and public events such as the Kitwe Mining and Agriculture Show, the Zambia International Trade Fair in Ndola, and the Agriculture and Commercial Show here in Lusaka. It is therefore for this reason that government has sought to endorse and partner with initiatives such as the Meet the Farmers Virtual Summit, who are offering innovative solutions to cushion some of the negative impacts that have arisen due to the cancellation of these shows. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, you are all aware that agriculture shows are an important medium to facilitate knowledge transfer and exhibition of various market opportunities that are available to farmers. I am therefore very pleased to announce that this virtual summit will help bridge the gap and link farmers to various input suppliers in the country and the rest of the region. Further, I'm also pleased that the virtual event will give farmers the opportunity to exchange information on trending issues, agriculture technologies, and best practices that are currently being adopted in many countries. It is therefore very comforting to observe that the intentions of this summit are in support of government's policy objectives of promoting and adopting of good agricultural practices and facilitating market accesses for farmers to sell their produce. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I would like for all participants to note that the issues of slow adoption of good agricultural practices and poor market linkages are among the major constraints our farmers are faced with in Zambia. According to the statistics of the 2019 Rural Agricultural Livelihood Survey, it is estimated that 63.2% of farming households in Zambia are currently using fertilizer in production. The statistics further estimates that 27.5% of farmers use herbicides, and less than 2% of farmers use mechanical power for their production. In terms of usage of improved seed, the statistics estimates that less than 60% of farming households in Zambia utilize the improved seed for crops such as maize, cassava, groundnuts, and soybeans. Definitely, more needs to be done to improve the adoption of improved technologies in the country. As government, we are therefore working with cooperating partners to implement interventions to fast-track the adoption of good agricultural practices among small-scale farmers in Zambia. Worth noting, participants may wish to know that government is attaching particular attention to key programs such as input distribution, research and development, irrigation development, and the enhancement of extension service delivery across the country. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I am particularly happy to note that this summit has attracted attention and participation from various government agencies, non-government organizations, public and private think tanks, the private sector, and representatives from the donor community. It is therefore my expectation that all participants in this summit will richly benefit from the diverse presentation, expertise, and experiences available. It is also my expectation that this summit will help government by recommending practical measures which can be implemented to enhance performance of the sector. I have noted with interest that many topics are earmarked for discussion during the course of the next 2 days. I am particularly pleased that topical issues such as improvements in agricultural value chains, upscaling value addition, sustainable fisheries and livestock production, cassava commercialization, and increasing women and youth participation in agriculture will be extensively discussed in this summit, and I therefore would like to make an appeal that all discussions take into account the interests and concerns of small-scale farmers, who, as you all know, are the majority in this country. I further wish to make an appeal that special consideration is given towards making recommendations on measures that will enhance women and youth participation in agriculture. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, my team and I definitely look forward to interacting more with you the next 2 days. Let me once again take this opportunity to thank the organizers of this event for partnering with government and ensuring this summit is successfully hosted. I also want to take this opportunity to thank all sponsors for their support, as you have really contributed and shaped the narrative for this event. Government is sincerely grateful to everyone that is taking part in this event. And it is our hope that this partnership continues to culminate in a lot of more innovations in the near future. In conclusion, Director of Ceremonies, ladies and gentlemen, may I wish you all a very successful summit and fruitful deliberations. With these remarks, it is now my singular honor and privilege to declare the Meet the Farmers Virtual Summit 2020 officially open. I thank you all and God bless you.
Welcome back to our opening ceremony. This is Meet the Farmers Virtual Summit 2020. We really appreciate the wonderful message we've just heard from the Honorable Minister, Honorable Michael Katambu. Please put your hands together for him wherever you are. Now, he has really set the tone for such a wonderful summit we are going to have today, and we thank him for officially opening this program. Our next speaker is our keynote speaker. She is Dr. Emma Nalujima, all the way from Uganda. Now, a few years ago, she took the world by storm by giving a fantastic TED talk. So she's not just a speaker, she's also a mother of two, a very proud one at that. She's a proud Ugandan and believes in young people. In her academy, she has been supporting children and young people to find their pathways on agriculture. She has worked with many people, providing assistance and advice on how to improve their farming techniques for various herds in piggery and various sectors. She has even advised the president of Uganda on how to improve his farm stock. She's not just an academic, nor is she just a veterinarian. Above all, this is Meet the Farmers. She is a farmer. Please put your hands together and welcome Dr. Emma Naluyima.
Hi, my name is Emma Naluyima. I practice integrated farming on 1 acre.
Right now you're at my farm. I call it the 1 acre unlimited because it has different types of crops and livestock. A vet, a farmer, a wife and a mother. Oh, these are my kids. Young farmers.
Visiting Dr. Emma Naluyima's farm will immediately see you counting money off your fingertips.
Every centimeter is important to us. Every kilogram of soil is important to us. There is no small piece of land, and neither is there bad soil.
Her farm story is an interesting one. Doing what she does with passion and skills, Dr. Naluyima's farm is a mix of farm enterprises managed by her family.
In the house, he's the head of the family. On the farm, I am.
Some don't even know my name. There are even those who don't even know that I'm the husband.
I'm his boss.
But I'm the boss here in the home.
We have pigs, fish. I do vegetables, fruits, and hydroponic fodder. And it's really nutritious, organic.
She runs a cycle of farm activities to benefit each element of her farm, thus incurring less expenses.
And we continue telling people to practice integrated farming for one reason. Is that whenever you have only one animal or one crop, you don't benefit from the other. But when you practice integrated farming, you benefit from both. Take, for instance, the pigs, when they give us waste, instead of leaving it there to get wasted, as it's called waste, we actually do waste management. Take, for instance, when we pick pig dung from the pig house, we take it out and it stays for 4 to 5 days where flies come and lay eggs, and then we pick the larvae. That's the most important stage for us. We actually call it gold, while the rest of the people think it's dirty but for us it's gold to us because we use it to feed the chickens and we use it to feed the fish. And then later we also use the same dung from the pigs. We introduce earthworms. And when we introduce earthworms, we still play around with it, and the earthworms give us urine or vermiliquid that we use as a pesticide and a fertilizer. So the earthworms and the maggots are used to feed the chickens and the fish. In so doing, we spend less on what we would have if we were using commercial feed. Take, for example, with the fish, we save 60% of our production. With the chickens, we actually don't spend anything because all we do is open for the chickens, they scratch a little bit, and then we come and feed them with the maggots. And they are nice. And then they also feed on the green stuff because they're scavenging chickens. They feed and then they move away with a yellow yolk egg, which is healthy and organic. Later, this dung, after we've finished and picked the maggots out of it, then we take it to the garden. You can either use it with the matoke or the vegetables. And then the water that comes from the fish is also used to irrigate the matoke and the vegetables. And the same water is used to irrigate the maize. And this maize is what we feed on the cattle as silage. And with the cattle, the milk, we take it as home and we give it to the children at school. And the surplus, surprisingly, we give it to the pigs.
She motivates, directs, and helps big and small starting farmers to see their farm businesses succeed. She is a professional, but most importantly, a practical farmer that teaches what she has mastered over the years.
Maybe 50% of Ugandans live on less than $1. Now everyone comes to my farm and I pass on their knowledge.
We're now in your plantation. Tell us
Yeah,
about
now this plantation is the other quarter, and in this quarter, the water that comes from the fish, we use it to irrigate. That pipe there is what helps us
And
irrigate
that
the
water is very nutritious.
Very much, because it has fish poo, fish urine, so we use it to irrigate the banana plantation. Now, in this banana plantation, in a month, minimum, we get 30 bunches.
In this quarter an acre?
Yes, but in that one, when you are using the single, we have different systems. When you're using the single system, now this is the single system.
Right.
In this single system is Jaja Mama no Muzukulu, as in grandma.
So this was the original.
Yeah,
original
the old book.
The old one.
Grandma,
Okay. Grandma,
mother, and the child. So in this one, you get about 3 bunches a year. So then in this one is Jaja Mama, you see?
Yeah, yeah.
Grandma, mother, and
yeah.
2 grandchildren.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So in this one, you get 4 bunches a year.
Oh yeah.
Okay?
Oh yeah.
So now we are looking at space. If I don't have so much space to have, all this, and I'll still play around with this space.
So 4 out of this a year.
Yeah. Wow. And then this is what we call, this one is the signature. Let me tell you what this one is, the signature one. This is the Naluyima type.
This is the Dr. Naluyima type. Why would you call it the signature? Why would you call it the Dr. Naluyima type?
Yeah, because this one gives 9 a year.
A year.
Yeah.
Farmers across the world would be running successful farms if only relevant information was easy to access. Well knowing this, Dr. Naluyima decided to share her knowledge with interested farmers. She does television shows and instructional videos that benefit farmers in Uganda.
But then remember, when they are scarce, it even could be much more, between 2,000 and 3,000.
Right,
okay?
Right.
And then, so if you have 4 of these, 2,000, that's 8,000. But if there are 6, that is 12,000 in a square meter. This space here is about, this is 1 meter, and this is about 4.
Right.
And we can have 21 lettuces in here.
Lettuce heads like this.
Yeah, so that is 42,000 shillings here.
42,000.
Minimum. Because a lettuce head can't go below 2,000.
Right.
So minimum is 42,000. And if you are vigilant or you don't want to take it to Nakasero and you sell it to
The local
people,
guys.
to people like you,
Yes.
then it will be even 3,000. If I say I'm going to take it to your home,
I package it well.
Yes.
I brand it well. Value addition,
Yes.
basically, and I bring it to you.
then I'll sell it about 2,000, 3,000.
Wow.
Okay? So that's the amount of money you can get. And in very small space. And the beauty with it, it takes about 5 to 6 weeks to grow.
Over the years, she has not only helped farmers from her home, but also offered to train farmers from across the country at different farmers' expos in and around the world.
Does not either it may give birth to dead piglets, or it may not give birth at all. The pregnancy can be absorbed. Tag. Wawa tags ezitalina kintu gwe noweeterako.
Her wealth of farming expertise and experience saw Dr. Naluyima join a team of agriculturists who make a panel of judges for the Best Farmers competition. Every year, together with other judges, she moves across the country in the search for an outstanding farmer.
And we are judging the Best Farmer 2019. It's a very good exercise. We've enjoyed our trips in the different parts of the country. Currently, we're in Nakasongola at Professor Bazeyo's farm. It's an interesting farm with livestock, goats, and cattle. He does feedlot. He also has greenhouses. He has 120 acres of mangoes. It's a good farm, really. And farmers out there are all trying, really trying to do their best. But the challenge they have is extension. They're kind of orphans. We've found out that almost 3/4 of the farmers we've met, they have not been visited by any extension worker. They love what they're doing, but they don't know how. So they just pick knowledge from fellow farmers, yet these other fellow farmers also don't know or don't have the technical expertise. So the technicians or the extension workers have done a very bad disservice to the farmers and to the country. Because if our farmers really love what they're doing, but they don't know how to implement certain things. Some of the farmers have money, but they still don't know how to use it, as in they use it blindly. And in the process, they'll burn their fingers and then they say they no longer want to farm. Another thing, what we found out is that farmers are also, they are farming, but they're not hygienic enough, because these are some of the things we have been looking out for. Hygiene is very important. We like to eat happy animals, we like to eat happy plants. But if we come to a place, even where you're picking this mango or orange or this animal where the animal stays and it's very dirty, that means they're actually going to have disease, they're going to be sick, and then production will be low.
She believes in raising a generation of self-sustaining citizens through agriculture. And yes, such a statement is rightfully said. She runs an agriculture-centered school where young people are equipped with skills that are transforming communities where they come from.
Go to the land you have cleared, you dig your hole, the diameter of the hole is 4 feet and the depth of the hole is 2 feet. From one hole to another is 10 to 12 feet. While you are digging your hole, separate the subsoil from the loam soil.
We're first going to see the ducks and see the birds, then we go and see the fish, okay? All right. Can we move on?
And then we've opened up a school, again, to train sons and daughters of African farmers. The 3 things Africans are failed to teach their children: time management, value of money, and the culture of saving through farming. Because we believe in Uganda here, our backbone is agriculture, and there's no way we can keep it as our backbone if the young children don't know how to farm.
ETG is an African-based group born in 1967 and focused into locally grown, produced, processed and manufactured goods and logistics aggregating up to 5.8 million tons.
ETG Farmers Foundation equips smallholder farmers with the skills needed to succeed beyond subsistence farming by laying down the foundations of local market economies, access to agricultural inputs, knowledge, financial linkages, and technical training. We believe in the seeing is believing philosophy, and we invited a delegation of Zambian farmers and government officials on a 5-day journey through Tanzania's cashew region to expose them to the complete supply chain, from farmer to processor, and from the public to the private sectors. A true example for learning and inspiration to all other cashew farmers across Africa.
So with me, it's a delegation of 17. 7 are officers from the Ministry of Agriculture who are involved in the implementation of the cashew infrastructure project in Zambia. Then 10 of us are farmers. We know that Tanzania is well ahead in terms of cashew industry. So we've come to see how the cashew value chain is developed so that when we get back, we can also go and do what you people are doing here.
ETG is a group of companies where we have so many industries like processing, procurement. We have cashew processing plants in Tanzania. Plants are situated in the southern part of Tanzania. Especially these areas are cashew growing areas.
We depend on the private sector to invest in cashew nut processing factories so that we could process all raw cashew nuts that is being produced in Tanzania. Mainly depend on export market. Women have permanent employment in the factory. Export trading group is doing a lot for the people of Tunduru and for the people of Tanzania.
I have been very passionate about creating a complete value chain in cashew nut industries. We have evolved over various challenges of infrastructure, skill development, and sensitiveness of social culture and political norms in rural areas of Tanzania. Our production, which is 230,000 tons, we can see that production can also increase because we can go up to 1 million tons, and we feel this will change lives of millions of smallholder farmers. In year 2008 and 9, we started our first procurement plant in Tunduru.
Kufanya kazi kote kwa miaka hii 10 imenisaidia kununua uwanja, kufyatulisha tofali, kujenga, nimenunua bati. Kwa hiyo nina chumba 5 na watoto wanasoma shule na kuendeleza maisha yangu.
Cashew is the most important export crop in Tanzania now. In earlier 1970s, Tanzania was the second biggest producer of cashew nuts in the world after Mozambique. Mid-70s now, the production declined to 16,000 metric tons. The little money which remained in the construction of the factories was diverted into a study to see what was the reason behind the decline in production. And the results of the study indicated that powdery mildew disease was the main factor behind decline in production. A lot of research has been done in Tanzania, and we have recommended more than 35 various pesticides that can control powdery mildew. The knowledge of controlling powdery mildew in Tanzania has been well adopted with all our cashew farmers. There is another very serious disease called cashew leaf and nut blight disease, but it can only come as an outbreak if it rains during fruiting season. We have also managed to develop various fungicides to control the disease. It is also very, very expensive, and you have to apply each time that it rains.
You put some manure, maybe 5 to 10 kg, get the rain from November. You put the seed down there and then you cover the hole. We plant 2 seeds. So once they germinate until they start production, and then you select, this is good more than this. The second one, you cut it. Actually, it takes 3 to 4 years. Cashew can get a good canopy like you see, and then they can start to produce. Actually, we don't use the irrigation. Weather also is a problem. If you don't get more than 750 millimeter per year rainfall, it's a problem for cashew. Once you harvest, we have a primary society. We send the cashew to the cooperative, and cashew market is very available, no problem.
Okay. We are farmers from Zambia, and we are aspiring to become farmers like you. We want to make a partnership with Tanzania.
Thank you. You are welcome again, anytime.
We as a research institute have a responsibility of producing seeds for our farmers. This is the biggest achievement we have attained in Tanzania. In total, there are 54 new varieties. They have been specifically bred to meet the industrial requirement for processing. The bigger the kernels, the higher the price. They are coming from a specially designed called polyclonal seed orchards. The Cashew Nut Board of Tanzania is distributing the seeds freely to farmers in various cashew growing areas.
Nina miti 300. Wadudu ninaopambana nao kwa kweli, zao la korosho lina wadudu wengi tu. Hii inasababisha na hali ya hewa. Lakini kwa mwaka huu, kutokana na huyu rais tuliye naye sasa hivi, yeye mwaka huu amejaribu kutoa bure. Tunapanda moja kwa moja katika shamba, lakini sasa hivi wataalamu wametushauri tuanze kuweka kwenye nursery. Kwa hiyo tunachagua zile mbegu zilizo bora, lakini kuna yale ya njano hayazai vizuri.
I prefer this one.
We have a comprehensive training program for the extension officers. We call it training of trainers. It is done twice in a year in their own respective areas. They will be able to assist farmers on how they can use the pesticides. The objective is to know the state of art.
We are the one who provide knowledge to the farmers on how to handle the cashew tree from the starting point up to the harvesting. For example, in my district, I have 10 groups. Their function is to raise seedlings, 300,000. Then the farmers are getting free of charge. But the main problem of cashew is diseases and pests. We report it to the Naliendele, and experts from Naliendele comes and try to find the solution for the problem and give us the knowledge going to the farmers. And if you don't take any control measures against it, you're going to get lost.
Kwanza unaweza ukalila tunda lenyewe kama lilivyo. Na vile pombe za kitaalamu wanatengeneza wine. Na sana mengine wanatumia kwa kulisha wanyama kama ng'ombe. Yatoa matunda hayo. Ukimwaga shambani Kwa mwaka jana ilikuwa shilingi 3,500 kilo.
About 16 million improved this coming planting season. And those seedlings are going to be distributed freely to the farmers. Naliendele is the only institution in the country that is allowed to produce improved seedlings.
Mume wangu amefariki miaka kama 10 iliyopita. Mimi mwenyewe peke yangu nimekaa nikajenga hilo na nikishirikiana na hiyo zao la mikorosho. Au wanakatishwa tamaa, lakini mwanamke unaweza.
So your encouragement of being a cashew farmer in this country of Tanzania, and we are taking what we have seen from you as women in Zambia. Congratulations.
Asante sana.
We are the center of excellence of cashew research in Africa. Naliendele Agricultural Research Institute, it is one of the 7 national research centers in Tanzania. We have the mandate of doing research on cashew to develop the best cultural practices, high-yielding varieties, identify major disease and insect pests, identify and recommend control measures of pests, also to improve quality of the crops, up to minimum of 10 years to get a variety. We are the first in the world to develop tissue culture technology for cashew mass propagation.
Do you have any cashew standards? Cost-benefit analysis of cashew production.
The cashews from these sections are being rechecked by the quality inspectors. So in order to avoid or to get quality issues, because it is all done manually, we put these cashews, which is ready to eat, back to Burma for 1 hour or 2 hours.
Nice.
It is ready for export. We put gas in that. We use carbon dioxide and nitrogen gas. By adding this gas, the lifespan of the cashew will be more, and by adding nitrogen also, the cashew will be more crispy. They don't use any chemicals. It is organic.
This goes to Middle East, Muslim countries mainly. And this is in LBS. So this goes to European countries.
Then they bring them home after picking, 2 sacks per day. So while the factory uses a humidifier, as you saw, they use a natural way to boil them. So like a 4-hour process. And they're given 24 hours to sort of settle. And then the next day, then they start to unpeel them. They call it kubangua. After peeling, they put them out to dry. Sometimes for 24 hours, it dries again in the sun to remove again the moisture, and then after that they take to sell them. So they have different buyers, but nothing as big as the factories. It could be people like you guys, could be anyone who buys to roast and resell into packets. So the machines to peel, they have their own mechanic who makes the machines. Yeah, but obviously they don't want to reveal all their secrets.
Even the farmers depend on the private sector for the improvement of their crop.
Hapa nilipo nafanya kazi ya kuchagua korosho.
Nina miaka 4. Hela ya mshahara inanisaidia katika mazingira ya nyumbani.
Hii kazi ni rahisi endapo korosho zinapopatikana kwa wingi. Zinanisaidia kuwasomesha wanangu, zinanisaidia kulimia mashamba. Muhimu isikuletisha maendeleo tu kwa wananchi.
Zao la korosho ni zao la biashara sana huku kwetu kusini. Kwa hiyo nilinunua na nilianza kufanyia kazi kiwandani, nikapata hela nusu, nikanunua shamba na kama eka 2 hivi za mikorosho.
Kwa zaidi ya miaka 4, eneo la kiwanda ni kubwa. Mshahara unanisaidia kwa kuendeshea familia yangu, kuweka mikakati ambayo itanisaidia baadaye. Naweza kununua shamba kupitia pesa ambayo naipata hapa kiwandani.
Mtwara is the leading region in producing cashew nuts. We are producing more than 2/3 of the cashew produced in Tanzania. The life of the people of Newala depends on cashew. And we are producing more than 175,000 tons annually.
What I call cashew is a green gold, can thrive in areas where other crops cannot withstand. We are planning to upscale cashew planting in non-traditional cashew growing areas. We have set a strategy of planting more than 15 million trees this rain season. If the government continue giving support to the industry, in the context it has given it away, in another 5 to 7 years, Tanzania will be the biggest producer of cashew nuts in Africa. Because we have the best varieties, we have land, and we have the knowledge and technology.
Because knowledge is power. Maybe that's what I've got from this trip.
I wish to put into practice all the knowledge that I've acquired here. Mostly, 3/4 of the employees on the companies are women. So I'm also encouraged as a farmer to take it up from what other women are doing here.
Cashew nuts is a big business where you can get a lot of money on it.
They are leading better lives. I admire them. And I'm encouraging you, my fellow women who are at home, to do the same. We are going to build a better Lukulu and a better Zambia.
This trip has put us, or has commissioned us, to become commercial farmers, so that we also raise the GDP for Zambia through cashew nut production.
Tanzania is really utilizing the seed services, because without good varieties, you cannot go anywhere. I hope this should also extend in our country, Zambia, so that our cashew industry will go up.
We learned quite a lot on how research is actually steering the program.
This has to also be applied in Zambia if we have to reach to where Tanzania has reached.
You know, there is a proverb, where there is a will, there is a way. Farmers are the backbone of the economy of the country. So whatever you have taken from here, I request you all to work on that level.
We can start from today. And I do hope that you feel inspired, you feel motivated, and you feel empowered that we could take on this dream.
The future of Tanzania is in agriculture. If it is focused well, in 10 years' time, we'll be able to do it, which could directly or indirectly employ not less than 1 billion people.